Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia, and I hope you're enjoying your holiday season. As always, joining me to talk college football and the bowl games that we've got coming up this week on the Christmas weekend edition is, of course, the one, the only Scott Bogman from Betting Pros, and in this league, Scotty P. Fun bowl games last week. The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, I did actually get to see a piece of. I didn't see him there, but I'm sure he was at some point in time.
He was there in spirit, of course.
Yeah.
It's just the
if I have
embodiment
a bowl
of Jimmy
game
Kimmel.
named after me, I'm going to be there. I'm playing quarterback, basically. I think that's what's going to go.
That's do you have any years of eligibility left, Joe?
I got plenty. I got plenty. I'm not going anywhere, buddy. Let me tell you something. So, Boggs, did you enjoy the bowl games last week, and how you feeling about this week's games?
Yeah, I mean, I was super disappointed in the bowl last night, UTSA and San Diego State. So, because I had UTSA in that game, and they had opportunities, and San Diego State kept shooting themselves in the foot. But that's just revisionist history, watching the games that you didn't pick right. Also, Wyoming rolling right over was a little bit surprising to me, but there have been some surprises. But for the most part, I think I have been 5-6, so hovering right around 500 on my picks. But also, weird stuff is happening. It's not just the NFL. There's some COVID stuff. I know that Texas A&M is in a bit of a bind right now. Hopefully, they have more than enough time to get guys to come off, but players are opting out. So we'll try to cover all of that as we go here.
Well, let's just jump in with 2 feet right now, and we'll start here. And, of course, you're going to love some of these names we got at the bowl games. I thought last week was pretty good. There might be 1 or 2 that are even better this week. Spoiler alert. Let's start with the Frisco Football Classic. Miami of Ohio, 3-point favorites versus North Texas. 54.5 is the number. Boggs, Miami of Ohio is the favorite. Should they be?
I've got UNT in this game. The Mean Green are on a 5-game win streak right now to get into a bowl because they're 6-6. Behind the 3rd-ranked rushing offense in the country. Miami has given up over 300 rushing yards twice, both big losses to Army and to Kent State. And if DeAndre Torrey and UNT can get close to that total, I think if they can get over 2 bills, that this is going to be North Texas in a walk. So I will take the streaking Mean Green to win this game.
Very good. Moving on to the Gasparilla Bowl. Now, I do like a good sarsaparilla. I'm not exactly sure what a Gasparilla is. Boggs, if you've got any indications on that, please let me know.
Don't know. I know it's something in Florida. So
something in Florida. Florida man might found at Gasparilla.
Yeah. And look at the teams that we have here for the Gasparilla Bowl.
There you go. So UCF versus Florida. Florida is 7-point favorites in this one. 55.5 is the number. Now, UCF certainly not a walkover. Florida probably the better recruiting class here, maybe better talent, but is talent going to win this football game?
I mean, this is exactly right, Joe. This is your classic talent versus motivation, right? Florida has lost quarterback Anthony Richardson, edge rusher Zach Carter going to the NFL. He's opted out. Mohamed Diabate opted out. Jacob Copeland all out for this game. Even their starting quarterback, Emory Jones, is going to leave Florida. He's going to be in the transfer portal, but he's going to wait until after this game happens. So, it's your Florida Gators that they have a new head coach coming in, Billy Napier. They have an interim head coach versus UCF, who wants this game. They want this game on their schedule every single year. They want to be taken seriously. But they have a backup quarterback in Mikey Keene right now, and they just aren't as good as they normally are. But with that being said, I think UCF has the motivation here. I'm going to take them to win this game straight up. So I will take UCF straight up because Florida has just shown us they will absolutely give up.
All right, let's get on a plane and go from Florida all the way to Hawaii for the Hawaii Bowl. Memphis, 8.5-point favorites versus Hawaii. 55.5 is the number. Now, Hawaii has missed a few players here, right, that are leaving. Is that correct? So what kind of impact is that going to have on this game and potentially the total as well?
Well, it's their 2 best offensive players. It's their starting quarterback, Chevin Cordero, going to San Jose State, and Day Hunter. They're both in the transfer portal. So that makes this game kind of an easy option for me. Memphis won't have their best offensive weapon in Calvin Austin. He's off for NFL draft prep as well. But I don't think I care. I think they can win behind an efficient passing game in Hennigan, and Hawaii will struggle to put up points on the board without their 2 best offensive starters. So I will take the Tigers and lay the points in this one.
The Camellia Bowl, Ball State versus Georgia State. Georgia State 5.5 point favorites. 50.5 is the number on this one, Boggs. So what are your thoughts on this contest?
I love how you said that like Ron Burgundy with a question mark at the end. The
Camellia
Camellia
Bowl? Well,
Bowl?
it's like, is it the Camila Cabello Bowl? Did she start having a bowl game then after? If so, if she's performing at halftime, I might very well have to watch that one as well.
Not even sure who that is, Joe. But
That's okay. I have teenage daughters almost, kind of,
okay.
sort of. So
All right. Well,
things.
it makes me feel better that I don't need to know who that is. So, but the game, it's not a great matchup for Ball State, this game. And Ball State is great at stopping the pass, and Georgia State runs. They're 10th in rushing. They're 110th in passing. Georgia State has given up a lot of rushing yards in their losses, and Ball State isn't really great on that side either. But they're not really great on either side offensively, but they're better passing than rushing. Georgia State is also solid at getting the quarterback. They have 34 sacks this season. I think this one is an easy one for the Panthers, so I'm just going to take them and lay the 5.5.
All right, let's see how you feel about the Quick Lane Bowl. Western Michigan, 7-point favorites versus Nevada. 56.5 is the number on this one. So a lot of the money coming in on the Western Michigan side, Boggs. Is that correct?
I think so. Everyone is picking WMU because Nevada is going to be without their starting quarterback, Carson Strong. He's going to the NFL. Tight end Cole Turner going to the NFL, and their head coach is leaving, Jay Norvell, to take the Colorado State job. So to say Western Michigan is inconsistent, I think would be unfair to inconsistent teams, but they haven't won back-to-back games since October 2nd and have won big 33-point blowout win against Kent State, who's a pretty solid team. They made a bowl, and then they lost the next game by 19 to Toledo. That was in back-to-back weeks, both those MAC teams they lost to. They have a signature win this year, too, over Pitt, so I'm going to take the Broncos. A combo of Caleb Ellaby and Sky Moore, I think, are going to be the big factor in this game. Nevada has a chance to win. So this one isn't going to be a very high ranking in my confidence stuff because they will run the ball. To'o is a better running and their running backs coach. He's a better running back than advertised, and the running back coach is the interim head coach here. So I do think they'll run the ball, and it can be effective. They won games like that against Colorado State, but I just think WMU is going to be too much for them to handle here. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
I know you're excited about the next one, too. It's the Military Bowl, East Carolina versus Boston College. BC is 3-point favorites. The number is 51.5 and 99% on the under. Very, very heavy on the under in this game. Why is that, Box?
I mean, this game is going to be a fantastic game, I think, Joe. I mean, these teams match up as well. East Carolina is a top 25 passing offense. Boston College 4th against the pass. They only gave up one 300-yard game the whole year, and it was against an SEC opponent in Missouri, Boston College. On the other hand, BC's offense has been stagnant, 24.7 points per game, 93rd in the nation, but ECU gives up 26.3 points per game. So I think on both sides of the ball, this is a very, very evenly matched team. I'm going to take ECU. Holton Ahlers is a tough competitor that has had the team competing in some of these tough losses here. South Carolina, Marshall, App State, UCF, Houston, and Cincy. Crazy schedule for East Carolina. It's nuts that they even made a bowl. So I think that this offense is going to have enough juice to win this game straight up against BC, who just doesn't have a ton of offense. So going to be a fun game for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it, that's for sure. Birmingham Bowl, 20th ranked Houston versus Auburn. Auburn 2.5-point favorites in this one. 51.5 is the number. That's a small number here for Auburn, but it is a ranked opponent in Houston. So what do you see the outcome of this one being?
This is such an interesting game. The Cougars don't have that signature win on the season, right? They lost the only P5 team they played against Texas Tech. And they lost to Cincinnati in the AAC championship, right? So even more important is that Houston lost a game they should have won against Miami in the New Mexico Bowl last year. In the season before that, they clearly quit and got smoked by Army 70-14 in the bowl game. They were just done. They didn't want to show up. Auburn will be without their starting quarterback, Bo Nix, who transferred to Oregon. But I think they should still have enough juice on defense to slow down Houston. I'm afraid that Auburn just has too much on that line behind all SEC rusher Derek Hall for Houston to handle. So I'm going to roll with the Tigers and the talent. But this is another one of those games, Joe, that probably needs to be low in your rankings because it's, Houston has quit 2 years in a row in their bowl. So they're getting called out. Dana Holgerson in particular is getting called out for that, their head coach. So they need to show up in this game, and beating Auburn would shut everybody up on that quitting nonsense.
What do you
So,
make of the Bo Nix transfer, by the way? That was kind of curious to me.
you know,
Hometown boy, he was the story the last couple of years, the legacy kid, and I know it really hasn't happened for him, and I've not been the biggest fan of Bo Nix, but what do you make of this?
I mean, he's got to go and play. I think what he's really trying to do is play against worse defenses so that he looks better for the NFL, honestly, and Auburn has not been able to put together a very good offensive game plan over the last couple seasons too. So going to Oregon, a team that's still on the national map but gets to play Pac-12 schedule instead of the SEC, I think might do good things for his career. So we'll see. I mean, still got to go to Oregon and win that job. So they got a new coaching staff coming in, Dan Lanning and company from Georgia. So it's going to be interesting to see if he immediately gets that job, which he should. That's why you transfer. Right. But what can they do with him? Because Dan Lanning, obviously a defensive guy, being the DC at Georgia right now.
First Responder Bowl, Louisville, 1.5-point favorites versus Air Force, 55.5 is the number. This one's real tight, Boggs. Which way would you approach it?
I mean, the whole game is going to come down to one thing. It's Louisville being able to stop the Air Force run game. Air Force, number one in the country, rushing 342 yards per game, obviously the triple option, all that stuff. But they're averaging over 55 more yards than number 2 Army. So they are unbelievably efficient with it. But if the run game gets going, they will control the clock. They're number one in that too. 36.4 minutes per game is what they average right now. And they'll put pressure on Louisville to make plays quickly, which will force any team into mistakes. But with all that being said, I don't think that will go down like that. I think Louisville is going to be the first P5 team that they're playing all year, Air Force. And I think they have too much talent. Malik Cunningham, great quarterback. They're very well balanced offense in rushing and passing. So they'll find a way to win this game, I think. And the spread being so low, I'm going to lay the 1.5 and take Louisville.
All right, the Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, 9.5-point favorites. Huge number here for them. They got to hold up. 59.5 is the over-under. Can Mississippi State hold on to this nearly double-digit spread?
I mean, this is one of the games that even if it was with the spread, I mean, we pick games straight up, but even with the spread, I would put it so high on my list and take Mississippi State. This is an easy pick. Texas Tech is all over the place. They've been inconsistent this season all year long. Their interim head coach, Sonny Cumbie, is gone after this game. Mississippi State is led by Mike Leach, who was fired by Texas Tech and hates them. So he wants to put the boots to Texas Tech. He has said all in his press conferences, it's not personal, blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. Everybody knows it is. It's way more about the players, of course, than the head coach here, because your talent is on the field. But I mean, even when you break it down to that level, Will Rogers, great year. Texas Tech quarterback Henry Colomby shouldn't even be starting for them. Mississippi State by way more than 9.5, Joe. I think this is going to be that one's going to get ugly.
Well, this next one's really tight. The Holiday Bowl. This is the one I like here. 18th ranked NC State, 1-point favorites versus UCLA. 59.5 is the number here for this one. Now, these are some teams worth watching. This one's going to be very close. So where are you flipping the coin between these two teams?
I think, Joe, if UCLA had been favored, you wouldn't have batted an eye, right?
No, not at all. In fact, well, that's what I mean. It felt like almost like a pick 'em, and I have no problem with the ranked team being favored. That's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. But one doesn't mean anything to me, so we're just going to bet it outright. And if that's the case, which is the team you're going to lean towards?
I'm going to take NC State here, and I just think they're too well balanced to be beaten by UCLA in this game. Leary, their quarterback, has been outstanding. 35 touchdowns, 5 INTs the whole year. The defense has been outstanding. They rank 17th in the nation, 19.7 points per game, less than 3 touchdowns a game given up. They've been great. 24th against the run, 31st against the pass, and they had 33 sacks this year. UCLA can just get a little bit one-dimensional. This is the problem with the Chip Kelly offense, right? Is they can be one-dimensional. Their offense is top 20 against the run, and the pass offense is below average. I think they're like 68th, somewhere in that neighborhood. So not terrible, but not well-balanced at all. Mainly a rushing team. The only good win UCLA has had the whole year, too, was against a well below LSU average team in the Rose Bowl. So I think the Wolfpack win this one. I don't think it's as close as we make it. I think this is kind of a game that in the late third, early fourth, you start to go, all right, what else is on? I'll
Fair
go
enough.
watch a TV show now. So we'll see. But I like NC State in this game.
Now, I know when we talk about the history of college football and, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, all of those, what always
Steeped in
comes to mind,
tradition. Right.
steeped in tradition, which comes to mind for me, is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Of course.
Always one of
Got to
my
get your
favorites growing
guaranteed
up as a
rate.
kid. My father's father's father
Mm-hmm.
always enjoyed this game as well. West Virginia versus Minnesota. Minnesota 4.5-point favorites in this contest. 45, a pretty low total here, Bog. So does that tempt you to go for the over between West Virginia and Minnesota?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
This game was going to be tough for WVU to start against Minnesota. Minnesota top 10 defense against the run, allowing just over, excuse me, 100 yards per game. They're ninth in the country against the run. But it's even worse because the best running back for West Virginia, Letty Brown, opted out to go to the NFL. So he was the main point of their offense. The good news for them is Minnesota is a very run-heavy team, 32nd in rushing, 115th in passing, even with a veteran quarterback in Tanner Morgan, who I feel like he's been there for a decade, but 4 years, obviously. But this will be a low-scoring game, most likely with a couple of veteran quarterbacks in Jarrett Deggy for WVU, Tanner Morgan from Minnesota. One of those guys is going to have to win this game, and I don't have confidence in really either one to win the game at this point. I'm going to take Minnesota because they'll have less adjusting. They lost their big running back, Mo Ibrahim, early in the year. Then they lost their backup running back, and they've gone all the way down to freshman Tyler Potts, who has been successful. They won't have to adjust nearly as much as West Virginia, losing their best player, offensive player, this week or last week. So I'm going to take Minnesota and lay the points here.
The Fenway Bowl, Virginia 2.5-point favorites versus SMU 71.5. Boggs, I almost have to do a double take every time I see that number. What do you think about this one? I guess if you like scoring, this is the game for you, eh?
Hammer the under, I think, in this game. This is
71.5.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Well, SMU's been good, right?
But, I know, but still, 71.
This is about the losses that SMU has had, though. Sonny Dykes on his way to TCU in this game. Their two top wide receivers, Reggie Roberson and Danny Gray, opted out in the transfer portal, gone. Virginia's had a gaggle of players either entering the transfer portal, both their starting tackles and tight end Jelani Woods. Plus, this will be Bronco Mendenhall's last game. He's going to resign after this one for Virginia. Obviously, they bring in Tony Elliott from Clemson here. With both these teams having fantastic offenses, it's going to be a good one, but I'm going to take Virginia. I'm going to take Brennan Armstrong. I think he's an awesome weapon. He's their leading passer and rusher for Virginia this season. I think they want to send off Mendenhall in style. SMU kind of falling apart at the seams right now with Sonny Dykes heading to TCU. So give me Virginia, and I'll lay the 2.5.
From Virginia to Virginia Tech, who will be taking on Maryland, 3-point favorites, by the way. Maryland is in the Pinstripe Bowl. 54.5 is the number. Now, Virginia Tech in a bit of flux here, Boggs, coming into this game. How does that affect this game against Maryland?
I mean, that's the whole game here, dude. I mean, this is, to me, I feel like you have to take Maryland. That's 94% of the public on Maryland as far as cash goes when I wrote this up last night. But at full strength, I would take the Hokies, but they fired their head coach, Justin Fuente. Quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, transfer portal. Number one wide receiver, Trey Turner. Their cornerback, Jermaine Waller, edge, Amari Barno, and offensive lineman, Letica Smith are all going to the NFL. That's a lot of NFL talent to lose in a bowl game like this. Maryland all of a sudden looks way better in this game with all those guys gone for Virginia Tech. So this is going to be an effort game, and this is Maryland's first bowl since 2016. So I'm going to take Lil Tualia Tagovailoa and the Terps to win that one. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be by more than 3. I think you're safely in the points there.
All right, the Cheez-It Bowl, Iowa State versus 19th ranked Clemson. Clemson just 1-point favorites by how the mighty have fallen. 44 is the number here on this one, Boggs. How do you see the outcome going?
This is a great game. This is our, one of our best bowl games of the week here. So to me, this game is about the dominance of Clemson's defense. Clemson has the number 2 scoring defense in the country, 15 points per game allowed. Outstanding. They're 36 against the pass. They're 8 against the run. Iowa State, unfortunately, has come up short in 3 or 4 games against tough opponents they faced this year. Iowa, Baylor, Oklahoma were all losses, with their one win in these tough games coming against Oklahoma State, which is a great win. I don't want to take that away from Iowa State. It's a very, very good win. Oklahoma State, fantastic team this season, but they're going to be missing a lot on both sides. Iowa State will be losing their best running back and player in Breece Hall. He is their big chunk of their offense. He's probably 60% of their offense right now. So that's going to hurt them a ton. Clemson lost both their coordinators, Tony Elliott to Virginia, Will Venables to Oklahoma as new head coaches. Their wide receiver, Justin Ross, is not going to get healthy enough to play in this game. Probably wouldn't anyway because he's going to the NFL. But I think in this game, I'm just going to take Clemson. I'm going to take this dominant defense. I'm going to lay the 1 point against Iowa State. This should be a great game. And a lot of these guys for Iowa State came back to play this year to try to win the Big 12 and go into the tournament. It didn't happen. So how motivated are they going to be to play is a big question for me as well. So give me Clemson and the dominant defense in the Cheez-It Bowl, which much better than the stupid Cheez-It Bowl I went to. Cal and TCU, 9 interceptions in that game. I mean, you might see 9 picks here, but they would all be for Clemson probably.
Are you a Cheez-It guy? You like Cheez-Its?
Yeah. I like Cheez-Its. They're not bad.
The people who love Cheez-Its, I'm like, love.
Yeah. Also, for me, I'm a goldfish man.
Okay. You gotta have standards.
I love the fishes because they're so delicious. And Captain and I, my cat, can share them. So.
There you go. See, I like the s'mores goldfish. I'm a big fan of the s'mores goldfish. They're very good.
Never tried them, but you know what? Based on your suggestion, I will find them.
S'mores goldfish are delicious. They got little tiny miniature marshmallow goldfish in there.
We're going to make it happen, Joe.
Yeah. You got the chocolate, you got the graham cracker one, and then you got the little tiny marshmallow. Very popular in my house for over a decade, the s'mores one. Vanilla cupcake. Also good, but the s'mores. See, you got to have the sweet, but also the savory goldfish. You got to have both. You got to have both in the cabinet at all times.
Dude, I'm going to the store after this. I'm going to find them. So I'll send you a
Speaking
picture.
of sweet and savory, how about that Alamo Bowl? 14th ranked Oregon versus 16th ranked Oklahoma. 4.5 point favorites Oklahoma is in this contest, but 61 is the number. But Boggs, you think this one might actually overperform on that 61?
I think the over is the easy call here because both these teams are losing so much on defense right now. So for Oklahoma, the wide receiver Jaden Hazelwood gone, linebacker Brian Asamoah, Nick Bonito, defensive tackle Perry Winfrey, Isaiah Thomas, Austin Stogner, Theo Weiss, all gone for Oklahoma in this game. Obviously, a lot changing here as Lincoln Riley heads off to USC. Will Venables comes in, a lot of parts moving and shaking right now. So in this bowl game that doesn't matter, all those guys are going. Oregon is going to be without cornerback Mikael Wright, linebacker Kayvon Pittman, cornerback Devin James, wide receiver Devin Williams.
That's a lot.
And so much on defense for both of these squads is going to be gone. So for me, I'm not picking Oregon or Oklahoma if I'm betting this game. I am picking the over here. I'm going to lean with Caleb Williams in this game. Oregon has been inconsistent since that loss to Stanford. Got beat by Utah twice. I think Oklahoma is probably a better team stack, with their players than Utah is right now. I don't know. So, but Oregon lost a lot too. I think they've been overrated since they beat Ohio State though. So give me Oklahoma in this game, which hurts me to say, but finally we get a ranked on ranked bowl game here. So that one should be a lot of fun.
Of like a little ranked on ranked action, and next week we got more of that obviously coming at you,
playoff
including the college football playoff, which is very exciting. So don't worry, enjoy the holidays, enjoy Christmas, everybody. Scott Bogman, I will not leave you hanging for next week, where really the big games are going to come into play. So we'll be here for that, and also for the national championship game as well, to break down all the props, individual bets that you can make, also here on BettingPros. In the meantime, go check out all the consensus lines and all of Scott Bogman's work at bettingpros.com, and make sure you subscribe to the Betting Pros podcast wherever you get your pods. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.